Muévete en el espejo. Muévete en el espejo. Enamórate del. What's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of Caile. And today we have Brandon.
Hello.
The BRANDON510.
The Brandon, yes, sir.
Previously known as
Beaches.
Mm-hmm. When I met Brandon, his name was Beaches.
Yeah. It confuses everybody.
That
right
was
now.
a long time ago, though. So understandable that you've been through your transformations.
Yeah.
I probably met you and okay, you want to know something? I used to listen to Brandon's podcast, Awkward Convos with Beaches.
Yep.
And I met you for the first time at Fields.
Oh, wow. Okay. Damn.
I don't remember what Fields it was, but I remember I saw you. And then at the time I was on Snapchat. That's how long ago this was. And I ran up to you and I was like, I'm having an awkward convo with Beaches.
Oh, my God.
Snapchat.
You are bringing the memories back.
On my Snapchat. And that was the first time I ever met you.
I do remember that now.
So now we're here.
Full
and you're
circle.
Having another awkward conversation with
your
Beaches.
podcast. Look at that. Damn. That's called like full circle and growth.
Moment.
I love it.
Full circle moment. So I did watch your podcast with Be Easy TV. So I don't want to be redundant and ask you the same questions. And you guys should go watch that podcast. And it's long form, 30 minutes long. He asked really good questions. You talked about how you were a musician for 10 years. Then it turned into work. You don't want to do it no more.
Exactly.
And you started traveling, and now you're addicted to traveling.
Yeah, traveling ruined my life.
Traveling ruined your life, right? I did hear you say that.
Yeah, in the best way, though.
In the best way.
Yeah, because it made me realize that like what I was doing for my life in my life up until that point wasn't bringing me joy. And when I started traveling, I started experiencing like real joy, like physical, like in my body, I could feel the joy. And I'm just like, I gotta chase this. So
tell me like about falling out of love with being a musician.
Man, I was when I was doing music, I wasn't myself, and I wasn't like the best version of myself. I was competing with my friends. I was like, you know what I mean? Like if I saw a friend of mine that was like a genuine friend get more farther than me in music, it would make me mad. Like, why am I, like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? That's not who I am as a person. I like to be joyous. I like to have positive thoughts about people in my life and the things in my life. And so, once you start realizing that, like that was one of those things like after the fact, after I stopped doing music, I was realizing like, damn, I wasn't the best version of myself when I was trying to make it as a successful musician, so.
Do you feel like you had a strong team behind you?
Hell nah. Which is probably one of the major reasons why, you know, things wasn't going how I wanted to, but no, I didn't.
Because I feel like we've had artists on the show, and that's like one of the biggest takeaways that I've had is that you need a really strong team behind you if
100.
you want to make something like that work.
Yeah, 100%.
So now you're traveling, and you travel alone most of the time.
99% of the time, yeah.
And how's that?
It's for me, my preferred and the best way to do it because it's just the most freeing. You don't have to worry about what anybody's thinking. You know, you don't have to worry about what anybody else wants to do. You know, like, so I'll travel to places by myself, but 90% of the time I'm not alone because I'm staying in hostels and I'm doing more of the backpack friendly places. So there's other people that are looking to be social. There's other people that are traveling by themselves that are looking to be social. But, you know, if I'm traveling and I'm with a group of people for a week, if I'm done with that group, it's nothing to just be like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all continue on. I'm gonna stay here, or I'm gonna leave, and because I'm by myself, and we're all mostly by ourselves. So it's amazing. For me at least, it's the most freeing and amazing way to travel.
Okay, every time I watch your story or your Instagram post and you're traveling, I bring out the backpacks. I always wonder this: do people stink on the trips?
Sneak on the trip?
Do they stink?
Stink. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I'm
Not
like,
all the
that
time.
shit look like it's stank the whole time.
Not all the time. Not all the time. So, like, you know, you're staying in these dorm rooms, and there will be some times you come back you know, after you being out all day and you come into the dorm, you're just like, oh man,
But you just love it so much.
No,
You're like,
I definitely don't love that.
But you love being on the trip so much.
I love being on the trip. Yeah. I mean, it's just there are so many ups, there's so many downs, but the ups far outweigh the downs. You know what I'm saying? Okay. There's times where I'm very uncomfortable. Like I was in Indonesia, I did an overnight trek in the jungle, and we basically slept on something not as comfortable as this rug on the floor. Dang. It was like a dirt mound with a tarp, and then it was like a man-made structure, but it was like all tarp. And on the ground, I didn't have no type of cushion. I was super uncomfortable. I was miserable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But like the experience that I got, the experience I got from that little interaction, from like seeing the orangutans and the gibbons and like all of that, it far outweighed how uncomfortable I was. Okay. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
So there's a takeaway every time there's a takeaway. So tell me everywhere you went so far. Mm-hmm.
So far in my life?
This whole time you've been traveling,
right. Okay, so I just got back from a 3-month sabbatical, and I went San Francisco to Bangkok, and then, I should say San Francisco to Thailand, then Thailand to Indonesia, and then after Indonesia, I went back to Thailand, excuse me. Then from Thailand to Laos into Cambodia, and then from Cambodia to Japan, and then home. So I hit 5 countries in 3 months.
3 months.
3 months in a week, yeah.
And that was just recently. But tell me where you went the entire time you've been like traveling.
Traveling, okay, so that's hard. Not hard, but let's see. So Japan, Thailand, Hawaii. I still count that, even though it's U.S., but I still count it. London, Spain, Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia, Costa Rica. Where else have I been? And then I listed out all those countries. I've been to Singapore. And I think that's it. I might be forgetting 1 or 2.
That's hella places.
Yeah. So I've touched Europe, I've touched Latin America, I've touched Asia. Yeah.
Your miles is going crazy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Passport stamp.
Jeez. That's really impressive. Yeah. That's so cool. I want to be like, congratulations, because that's a huge feat.
Yeah.
Literally, there's people that never leave like their city.
100%.
Especially if you live somewhere like San Francisco. Mm-hmm. Or, like San Francisco is a great example because there's like all cultures there. There's shops there. The beach is there. Mm-hmm. The mall is there. Like, you don't really have to leave. When I tell people come to Richmond, they're like, oh, that's so far. I'm like, well, Brandon been like hella places.
Exactly.
So there's no reason why you can't come over here to Richmond.
True, 100%. That's also a reason why I showcase and chronicleize so much on my travels, because I want people to see that, one, people that look like myself and other people of color, like I'm a real nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like we can exist in these spaces, and it's hella easy and hella cheap to do.
Right.
So, yeah.
Also, shout out your privilege of being 6 foot tall because you're not scared.
That's 100%. Okay. That is another thing that, like, you know, being black in America has its disadvantages, but being black in other countries kind of has an advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was traveling through a bunch of these Latin American countries, and I hope y'all don't beat me up in this room for saying that.
They don't speak Spanish.
But no, like, you know, I like was a lot bigger than a huge majority of the population.
For
so
sure.
it's like, hold on, player. But like that was an advantage. You know what I'm saying? It's like I wasn't, and I also looked more like the population as well, more than like a gringo.
Right.
So I'm like, wasn't really much of a target, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So as long as I take my gold chains off, I could slide.
As long as you don't talk, you're just like, see. See.
Exactly, yeah.
Tell me what's like the biggest culture shock you've had so far.
The biggest culture shock, okay, it's super easy. So, and when you stand in these hostels, the hookup culture is huge, right? And so coming from an area where people of color are more of the, what's the word I'm looking for? More of like the standard of beauty, I should say. It's the opposite when you around hella Europeans. And so like back at home, I don't really have problems pulling. When I'm traveling, it's almost non-existent. And I'm like, it can't be my game because it's not that's not lacking. Maybe it's the age difference, you know, but like I don't always want to go and say it's like a racial thing, but like when you see, yeah, that's the biggest culture shock. I'm, trying to keep it brief.
Like, why doesn't nobody like me?
It's not even. It's not that, but it's just. Yeah, it's like you start thinking like, what the fuck is what's going on? And the only thing I could think about is just like the beauty of standard. That's I'm saying that for a lack of a better term, and it's like. It's not even the beauty of standard, but it's just like what you're used to, right? So if you grow up in a place where like somebody who is white is like the main people you see, then that's who you're gonna go for. I grew up in an area where people of color are more the main, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like that for me is the biggest culture shock.
Especially like in Asian countries, right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen videos of girls, I think they were Japanese girls, and they were showing them a picture of like a white blonde dude, and they were like, I don't feel good enough to be with him.
Yeah, they look at it as
like
a success.
A god, right? Yeah, and I'm like, girl, you joking?
I have no idea.
He looked like he shoot at the school. He's not hot. Like, it was like some weirdo white dude. So I can see how you would struggle. But welcome home.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back.
You're gorgeous here.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not even a struggle because I don't go, I'm not traveling to hook up. Like, that's like...
He's like, I don't care, you don't want to go with me.
Well, no, it's not even that, but it's just like, right now, I'm 38 years old, right? So I'm in a different part of my life. Like, when I was in my 20s, like, every day, all day, it was like, how can I get money? How can I get pussy? That was pretty much my MO, like most young niggas, right? Now it's like it's just a complete switch. But of course, a man does have needs, right? And so when you travel as a single guy, you gonna try your hand, and it's not like I don't ever hook up, but I just like it just doesn't happen as much.
He's like, I do get a little bit of pussy.
Hold on. But no, it's even crazy to even like talk about out loud because it's one of those things where when you are going through it, it can be a source of like insecurity, right? But I mean, anything that's gonna make you question yourself is gonna be somewhat of a source, maybe not an insecurity, but just like a source of like uncomfortableness.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so when things like this happen, you start questioning yourself, and you're like, am I fucking crazy? Like, I went my entire life not having to worry about things like this, and now at this point in my life, I'm just like, why am I questioning, you know what I mean? So it has been a huge culture shock, for sure.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's also, it helps you grow, right? Because then you're like questioning your priorities on the trip and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So honestly, I really like that you said in that last podcast, you said, I fall in love a lot platonically.
Yeah.
And I feel like romantically, that's perfect. Because honestly, when you start dating, I never want to see someone's true colors for real. Like, that's like like keep it in the honeymoon phase forever and ever. Yeah, and I feel like when you're on a trip like that and you meet someone, they're their best selves, they're on vacation. Yeah. And then you go home, and then you never have to talk to them again. Bless Jesus. Like, that sounds perfect.
It could go either way.
But then
right?
you went back and you go back and see people, or like, how does that work?
I have, yeah. So I mean, for the record, I do have a girlfriend. So, and actually somebody I met on this most recent trip, right? So like, we met and hit it off so well, but we saw each other multiple times. And it also is a big risk, right? Because we didn't grow up in the same cultures, we didn't grow up in the same countries, and we don't live in the same country. So we're trying to figure it out. But I have in the past, like, hooked up with somebody and then gone back to hook up with them again, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know, I mean, you know, when it comes to things like that, it's just like, I'm very spontaneous, and like, I've always been spontaneous and adventurous, but this point in my life, I'm the most spontaneous. And it's like, if I'm gonna quit my job and go, you know, explore around various countries for 3 months without a plan, I could also date somebody and like, let's figure it out. Let's just see how it goes. Like, I throw caution to the wind a lot. You know what I'm saying? And so if it ends in disaster, then at least we have a good story to tell. Right. If it doesn't end in disaster and it works, then we have an even better story to tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just how I'm living my life at this point in all aspects. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And how does that affect your relationships at home? Do you feel like, because I mean, your girlfriend is long distance girlfriend now,
like
right?
Long distance.
Yeah. So you're planning to go back and forth? Is she moving, or you guys meet each other in different countries?
We ain't even got to that point. Yeah, we don't know. We actually are planning to talk this weekend to like. I mean, we've talked about it, right? But we like. I don't know. I don't know. We gonna figure it out.
Because I'm thinking, if you're taking 3 month sabbaticals and a girl here is trying to be serious, like, girl, he's always gone.
Yeah. And, I'm not gonna be able to.
But he don't get no play in other countries, so maybe you'll be okay.
Why did I admit that? No.
You're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I'll be fine. The thing is, like, when it comes to dating with me as a like nomadic traveler, from the gate, the person has to either know that I'm gonna be gone a lot because, you know, I'm spontaneous. So like the trips I've taken, besides this 3 month sabbatical I just did, like some of these trips have been like, tomorrow I'm about to go to Mexico and I'm gonna be there for a week and then I'll be back. You know what I'm saying? So like, you have to know that that's how I'm living already and be okay with that. Or you got to match my life.
Right, and come with you.
Exactly. Or just like, you got to be okay with me also traveling by myself.
You're like, actually, no, don't come.
No, we will take our trips together.
Don't come.
Right?
You can't come to
my
this
trips are my trips.
Okay.
Our trips are our trips. My trips are my trips.
Dang.
That's a non-negotiable for me, 100%. And that's also like why I was very happy with making who I'm in a relationship with now, my partner, because she is also on a nomadic tip. You know what I'm saying? So like our lifestyles match.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's such a cool change of pace from being here and living in Oakland your whole life, and then just being like, you know what? I'm gonna go travel the world.
Peace out.
That's so tight.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it makes you? Well, you kind of answered that question because you said the girl that, or your partner who you're with, is similar to you, right? As like, she likes to travel. And one of my questions was, do you feel like your taste in who you're friends with or who you decide to date is different now that you've done all this traveling? And
100%.
Right. It kind of like shifted your perspective. Can you tell me about that and like what other perspectives you feel have shifted since doing all this traveling?
Right. So I've always been opposed to people that are like closed-minded and like happy with being uneducated about shit, right? Just in a general sense. Because growing up my whole life, I've been very different than my surroundings, very different than like, you know, high school. I wasn't I was like, you know, everybody wearing Jordans and like trying to be this cool. I just was myself, playing video games and watching anime. I mean, black people have this fucking, we say this all the time, anime wasn't cool and I watched it back then. Not trying to say that, but it's just like, I've always been different, right? And I've always I've always not liked people that just didn't accept people for who they were and not being open to whatever life throws at them. And so as I've traveled, I've met so many people that are like me, where it's like, oh no, it takes a certain type of person to go to another country where you don't speak the language by yourself and stay in a hostel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So then when you start like meeting those people, it's like, oh shit, I found my tribe. So then when I would then come back to Oakland, it's like, oh, now I'm back with the niggas that like are hella close-minded, they ain't been nowhere, don't know shit. No fault to them, but it's like, I don't know. It's like I don't feel like I'm above anyone, but it's definitely made me switch like the type of people I even want to like spend my time around.
Right.
Like you were saying earlier, like the pandemic has kind of like made you be a little bit more confident with like, no, I don't want to hang around. I don't want to
shake your hand.
Exactly. Like that's
you.
kind of where I am right now. Where it's just like if I'm not being around nobody or doing anything that don't bring me joy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of my life was spent like working and doing things because I felt like it was necessary, or I felt like this is what I got to do as a man, as a father, as whatever. Like if shit ain't bringing me joy, it's dead. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now, you know, so.
Which is why you like kind of left that old persona, right?
Pretty much,
and just took on this new one.
Yeah,
and he's worldwide with it. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and the travel was what helped it, is because when I was going to these places, I wasn't introducing myself as Beaches. I was like, oh, hi, I'm Brandon. And so once I stopped doing music and like I started meeting more and more people as Brandon, as myself, it's just like why I continue to call myself and like brand myself as Beaches when I'm not living that Beaches lifestyle anymore.
Right,
you know?
right.
So, yeah.
Cool. Damn, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Give us some advice on like someone who wants to travel the way you do. You're telling me you had a remote job, so that helps.
It definitely helps.
How do you ration your money?
Well, damn, it's hard. Let me see. The advice I can say is pick a place, wherever you want to go. Of course, do your research, and don't be scared to stay in hostels. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you, even if you're traveling with people, because one, your costs are gonna go down. Two, you're gonna meet some of the best fucking people. And three, staying at hostels just helps you figure out like what to do and how to do it.
But you do have to sleep like in the little ass bed.
You don't. They have private rooms, and they're cheaper than hotels.
Okay.
Depending on which countries you go to. I'm
not opposed to the hostel, but I'm just imagining you're like in a casket like this, and there's somebody fucking right next to you. And then you're like trying to sleep and it stank the whole time and it's hella bugs everywhere. That's what I imagine. But you're making it sound really fun.
It's like that's one of the main reasons I got addicted. It was because of hostels. But hostels do have private rooms.
Okay.
Right. So not all of them will, but a big majority of them will have private rooms. And like, say you're in one of the Southeast Asian countries and you stay in a dorm room, the bed's gonna cost you $3. A private room is gonna cost you $10.
Wow.
So like, it's more expensive. So like, for me, I'm 3 months. I'm trying to make a certain amount of money last for 3 months. I'm only gonna stay in dorm rooms because I need to make that money stretch.
Right.
But when I was doing my like 2-week trips, I'm in private rooms, but you still get the benefit of the social experience. In a hostel. So that's my number one advice to y'all out there. Don't be afraid to stay in hostels. Do it. But then if you're really uncomfortable with like staying in a dorm room, just stay in a private room.
Okay.
Yeah. But don't stay in the room. Like go drop your bag, take a shower, and then get the fuck out of the room and go to the social area and meet people.
I met someone who was staying in one of those hostels once. And he was just making it sound like the best thing ever. And every time I would meet him, he would have no shirt on. And I'm like, I kind of trust this guy that he's having a great time, because when I was, it was in South Beach, Miami.
Okay.
And he'd be like, come join me at the beach. He was this French guy.
Yeah.
And I'd pull up on him and he would have only like his shorts, his sandals, and like a spliff and his phone and no clothes. And he's like, oh, it's at the hostel. And I'm like, okay, I kind of trusted him. Like, he's having a great time. So you're clarifying a lot of questions.
Right.
I really appreciate you coming on today.
I appreciate
it means
you
a lot.
me.
It's so good to see you.
Of course, yeah.
We've crossed so many. I always say this, like when you're working and you're moving in similar directions of growth, and like you said, doing only things that you really love to do, you'll always run into the same people again.
100%.
So it means a lot that you came on here today and shared your time and in your story.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Brandon. Say goodbye.
Peace out, y'all.
Okay, good.
That was dope.
Good job, bro.